All right, everybody, welcome into the High Noon Show, the first of two streams that we do each and every day here at noon on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. High Noon is all about current events, trending topics, hot topics, and headlines. Anything that's happening, anything that people are talking about, if it's going on in your world today and you need to know a little bit something about it, you tune in here. You come here to the Hot Talk Show. Hot Topics. High Noon Show. As I said, this is the first of two that we do each and every day. We come back at 9 p.m. Central Time. We do something we call Pillow Talk. That's myself and Parker. We call it Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Hold on a second. I just got, would you please stop? I'm kidding. I don't know. Somebody who I thought was a friend recently must have given my phone number to some sweepstakes, and now I just get all kinds of like crazy texts from people that I don't need. Pillow Talk comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a bit more conversational. It's a bit more silly. We get into things deeper, not deeper subjects, but I mean, we dig down into things, one or two topics per night. This one, boom, 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 topics, headlines. We run through the trends. We run through the headlines. We run through the hot topics, anything that's happening. I bring it to you here. All right. I'm a little bit behind today. You know what happened? Hi, April. You know what happened today? This morning, I was on my regular schedule. I was about 20 minutes behind. I slept in a little extra. It's because the pool guy was here. So I slept in a little bit extra today because I can't let the dog out. The dog was sleeping here last night. Can't let the dog out until the pool guy goes. And the pool guy, who typically is only here about 20 minutes, was here like an hour and a half today. So the dog was bouncing around, and I had to play with the dog to kind of keep her mind off the fact that there were people in her yard that she wanted to eat. It was just very... And then one of the things that's trending today is King Tut. And we're going to talk about King Tut. King Tut was trending today. And I was like, I have all these hot takes on King Tut, but they're hot takes from when I was like 8-9 years old when I went to the King Tut exhibit. So I had to do a little investigation. I was like, well, what do I really know about King Tut? So I found myself, I spent 40 minutes this morning just diving into King Tut stuff. And I was like, yeah, all for a segment, all for one simple topic that we'll cover today for like maybe, 5 minutes max. And I'm like just reading all of it. But basically I confirmed all of my hot takes from when I was 8 or 9 years old. I was like, I had it right. On King Tut. I'll share you those. Oh, do I have King Tut hot takes? My goodness, people. You're going to love my King Tut hot takes. But first, let's tell you all about what today is. We like to start out the show before we get into the topics. We like to tell you exactly what today is all about. Why it's memorable, things that happened, and we talk about a couple of birthdays, and of course, we get into deaths. Today is the 23rd day of the third month, year of our Lord, 2022. That's March the 23rd, for those of you who aren't as quick. There are it is the 82nd day of the year, and there are 283 days remaining until the end of the year. See, because I got it written down right here. I'm not going to do that thing anymore where I pretend like I'm doing math in my head. So that would be, I don't know why I did that. I caught myself doing that the other day, and I just thought, my God, that is like one of the most disingenuous. That is bullshit. When you're trying to make people think, why are you so pet? These are all things that schizophrenic me tells me. I'm just repeating him. Schizophrenic me isn't here today. Yes, I am. Oh, God. Yes, he is. All right. That's such a micro thing. Like every day I say how many days we are into the year and how many days there are until the end of the year. And I say that because that's one of the first things that I see when I pull up this day in history. And I always write it down. Always. I always have it there. And yet I caught myself the other day pretending like, oh, let me see. Let me do the math. Why? That is so petty. We are so complicated. This is what I do from time to time. I delve in on the micro insanity that I have. There are all kinds of little things. That's crazy. That's a fraud. I'm such bullshit. I've been telling you for years. Yes, you have. At any rate, there are 283 more days remaining until the end of the year. What is today? Let's find out what we should be celebrating. Today is, let's pull up the National Day calendar. Let's see. It's National Chia Day. Chia Day. What is Chia? What is Chia? Or is it, what is, like, Chia Pets? I don't even know. Am I doing this right? Am I saying it correctly? CHIA. Chia Day. What is, how, is this Chia Pets? What? Is Chia a thing outside of the realm of Chia Pets? I just thought they were. March 23rd is National Chia Day. It recognizes the tiny. Oh, God. Pop-ups. National Chia Day recognizes the tiny yet powerful chia seed. Okay, it's a seed that has earned its reputation as being one of the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet, revered by Maya and Aztecs for their amazing healing powers and natural. If they're so healing, then how come both of those cultures disintegrated? Their amazing healing powers and natural energy. Chia seeds have become a trusted staple for people around the world and can be enjoyed in many foods and beverages. Okay, all right, fine. Chia is a thing. It's not just a chia pet. I thought it was just like the little thing that grew hair. It was. Do you know? Now that I'm thinking about this, I have seen commercials on TV for chia pets for, I don't know, my entire life, and I've always gone, "Oh, those look fun. I want to get one." And I have even like been in stores where they have that end cap at the end of an aisle. It's what an end cap. It's what an end cap is, moron. I know. You see those end caps with like, as seen on TV, and they've got all of like the crazy late night TV. I've seen chia pets. I've never bought one. And here's the shocking thing. I don't think I've ever seen a chia pet in real life. I don't think they exist. If that's how many of us are living, if it's not something that has occurred right in front of me at some point in my life, then it's not real and I don't believe it. I don't believe chia pets exist. All right, moving on. It's National Chip and Dip Day. Dip draft. Oh, okay. We can do a dip draft. All right. With the first pick in the dip draft, the team from Pugs and Company's High Noon Show select with their first overall pick French onion dip. French onion dip. French onion chips. Just the classic. I go classic. I go the quarterback position. That's the quarterback position of dips. That's just French onion dip. It comes in a little container. With the second pick, on National Chip Day, for the dip of choice, I choose salsa. Salsa comes in number 2. With the third pick in the dip draft, I choose the utility player of dips, ranch dressing. With the third pick in the chip dip draft, no, fourth pick, I choose McDonald's hot mustard sauce. McDonald's hot mustard sauce. I love it. I love McDonald's hot mustard sauce. And with the fifth pick in the chip and dip draft on National Chip and Dip Day, I'm going to go with the one that's the easiest one. I'm going to go with the one that I make most commonly because I don't have the other dips. I'm going to take with the fifth pick, simple sour cream with garlic salt. Simple sour cream with garlic salt. Okay, so let's run it down again. Let's see what we got here. We have number 1, the first pick overall, the French onion dip. Number 2, salsa. Number 3, what was 3? I forget what number 3 is. It doesn't matter. A McDonald's hot mustard. Number 4, I forgot number 4 already too. What was number 4? I don't know. We'll just go with McDonald's, the McDonald's thing. Oh yeah, and then number 5, McDonald's hot mustard. And then number 5, was the classic sour cream and garlic salt. There you go. Those are my dips of choices. I know, people. They're like, what about guacamole? Well, did anybody in the chat room say guacamole? Queso is good too. Oh my God. I screwed up the draft. I didn't go with queso. Oh my God. Oh God. Guacamole, I knew. Guacamole, I was thinking about, but guacamole goes bad so quick. If you don't eat guacamole in the entirety of the first sitting, it's like, ugh. So guacamole comes in sixth. Guacamole is great. I totally screwed up. With queso. Queso. Oh my God. Oh my God, queso's got to be the number one pick. Can I get a redo? No, you can't. Jesus, I blew the draft. My God, I'm like Portland not taking Michael Jordan, number one overall. Oh my God, I blew the draft. I'm like Ryan Pace selecting Mitch Trubisky second overall. Oh my God, I blew the chip and dip draft. All right, it's also National Near Miss Day. I don't know what that is. It's National Melba Toast Day. Melba toast. Melba toast is good to dip in things. You can do that. That's good. That kind of goes along with National Chip and Dip Day. It's also National Puppy Day. Oh, they're so cute when they're young. How come a dog breeder hasn't figured out a way to just make a permanent puppy? Wouldn't that be a thing? I bet in 500 years there will be permanent puppies. Because everybody falls in love with a puppy. It's the dog that gets on the nerves. It's like, I love them when they're puppies because they're playful and you can, they're sure. The hell is that? Pop-ups. Pop-ups. I hate pop-ups. Okay, so National Puppy Day. So, hey, if you have an opportunity to play with a puppy, I think every day should be National Puppy Day. Puppies are the best. Puppies are the best. Followed by babies. There's puppies first and then babies. It's also National Tamale Day. I love a good tamale. So there we go. That's what today is. Today is National Tamale Day. It's National Puppy Day. It's National Melba Toast Day. It's National Near Miss Day. It's National Chip and Dip Day. And it's National Chia Day. No idea who does this national calendar, but I find it weird. So we do it every day. All right, this day in history, let's talk about some of the things that happened on this day in 1933. The Reichstag passes the Enabling Act of 1933, making Adolf Hitler dictator of Germany. Now, I don't know what he went on to do, but I'm sure it was fine. In 1977, that's right, nothing happened between 1933 and 1977. In 1977, this was the first of the Nixon interviews. 12 will be recorded over 4 weeks with British journalist David Frost. Now, I remember seeing these. I was like a kid. This is like a little kid, but I remember for some reason I was interested in this. Why would a 6, 7, 8-year-old, whatever, why would you be interested in this? Why? I don't know. I have no idea. But not only do I remember as a little kid watching the Frost Nixon interviews, I mean, I couldn't possibly have understood what they were talking about. I think I was just, I don't know. I have no idea, but I do remember seeing these on TV. And it's one of the reasons why a couple of years back, there was this terrific movie, the Frost Nixon, wasn't that what it was called? Frost Nixon. It was really good. It's really interesting. If you like history and if you like media, as I liked both, it was right in my wheelhouse. It's a good movie. Michael Sheen plays David Frost, and who played Nixon? What's that guy's name? I can picture him. I can't think of his name. Frank Langella? Did he play Nixon? Let's just say he did. I don't know. Let's just give him credit for it. On this day in 1977, the first of the David Frost Nixon interviews air. On this day in 2001, the Russian Mir space station is, quote, disposed of, which meant that it broke up and it fell to the earth, landing in the southern Pacific Ocean near Fiji. I don't remember this. I remember there were satellites falling like later in the 2000s because I remember Kelly made her kids wear a helmet to school that day. And it was pretty funny. That started a thing. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but she convinced her kids that all kids had to wear helmets to school because the space station or something was falling. But that wasn't in 2001. So I don't remember the Mir thing, but here it is. In 2003, on this day, the Battle of Nisirya, the first major conflict during the Iraq invasion, occurred. On this day in 2010, the Affordable Care Act became law in the United States. And for the past 12 years, every anti-Obama politician has been promising to get it thrown out. But guess what? They don't get there. You know why? Because people actually like it. Not here in Texas, because I don't think you have the option for it here. I don't think they're in the system here. But I engaged in the Affordable Care Act when I was a private employer. A private employee, I guess. What do they call that? What do they call that? What are they a contract? Oh, what do they call that when you don't work for somebody, you work for yourself, you freelance, something like that. So when I moved back to Illinois, I got wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, killer coverage of health things. And are you ready for this? I believe it saved my life. When I injured my heart, if I was not covered, if I did not have health insurance, I wouldn't have gone to the hospital. I would have just gone home. And people said I probably could have died because I suffered a cardio concussion. Basically, it's like it's like, your brain gets concussions. Like my heart got a concussion. And it was, they had to monitor me and all that. I could have gone home and gone to sleep and been, like Bob Saget or something. But I was fully covered at the time, thanks to the Affordable Care Act. And I stayed a night and a half in the hospital, and I went home, and then I had to see a cardiologist, and he checked me out over the course of the next 2 years, and I'm good. I'm good. Strong as I just haven't. That's why I run now. I have to run because I have to keep my cardio up to a certain level. But no kidding, I wouldn't have known any of that stuff. I would have injured myself, and I would have been like, okay, I feel fine. I'm just having a little bit of chest pain. I'll go home. Because I would never have gone to the hospital if I couldn't afford health care on my own. So there you go. On this day, that's why they're never going to be able to repeal it. Because even the people who hate Obama, who have the Affordable Care Act, they know it's awesome. They know it's great. They know that instead of getting like $500 taken out of your check every month at work, they'd rather pay what I was paying, which is almost nothing. Like nothing. And, there you go. But we're not going to get into that because that's not political. It's been politicized, and you're dumb if you're politicizing that. It's not political. It's just making sure that people can go to the hospital when they're injured. That's all. Oh boy, here I go. Oh boy. How did the heart thing happen? I've been in and over it. I was stupid. I've got thrown while I was engaging in a stupid thing that old men shouldn't engage in called combat wrestling training. And I compressed my heart. I've talked about it. I thought I've talked about that a whole bunch of times. Anyway, Frank Langella. Who did I say? Was it Frank Langella who played Nixon? I don't know. Isn't that who I said? Who did I give credit for? I don't know. All right. So on this day in 2010, the Affordable Care Act became law. And people like it. People like it. So that's why, they'll go on Fox News and say, we're getting rid of it. But then, when they get to their pancake breakfast, they get hit up by a whole bunch of people who are like, hey, you know what? Can we just table the whole thing? Because, I'm a right-wing Republican, but honestly, I like that I'm paying this much instead of that. And you can't get rid of it. You give something to people and it's like a really good deal. They're not going to go, I hate Obama, so let's give up on the good deal. But you people in Texas don't know. You people in Texas don't know because you've never been in the exchange. Because remember, the government of Texas sued. We don't want to participate. So you people don't know. But all the states that do have it are like, yeah, we like it. We like that the HMOs and all of these people, they can't charge us, a shit ton. And well, you never feel it because it comes out of your paycheck. Yeah, but it comes out of your paycheck. When you look at what is being deducted from your paycheck for healthcare, you're like, what? You mean I could pay $75 a month on my own and get better coverage than this group bullshit coverage that you're charging me $400, $500 a month for? Yeah, you can. You sure can. And when I was in the hospital, I went to a really nice hospital. It was really nice. It was great. and I survived. And now I'm here doing this narcissistic exercise every day, Monday through Friday. On this day in 2021, a container ship ran aground in the Suez Canal. Do you remember that last year when all prices started to skyrocket? And that's the first time we started to hear about supply chain issues, because we learned that, the Suez Canal, this little narrow strip, that's where all the products in the world cut through. It's like the shortcut for all the products in the world that come from other places and try to get to here. They have to go through the Suez Canal at some point. And there was some idiot in a boat, a big giant boat, and he did it wrong. And then he jackknifed in the middle of the canal. 6 days, it was like a whole week. But then skyrocketing prices we incurred in the beginning. And then it was like, oh, supply chain. It was the first time I remember hearing about supply chain. Now we hear about it all the time because it's politically expedient to use that now for everything, because everything's been politicized. Births. How about some birthdays? Jeff Glenwright, you got your insurance through the exchange here in Texas? Maybe they changed the laws. Maybe they, let's see. It's always repeal and replace, but all they've done is try to repeal. Nobody has attempted to replace. All they have to do to kill the ACA is give us something better, and people will abandon the ACA and flock to the alternative. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because the Affordable Care Act is not perfect. It's riddled with compromises. Just to get it through in 2010, it had to be watered down. The original plan, known as the Romney Plan, which he got passed in Massachusetts when he was governor there, that's way more liberal and progressive than what we have now as the ACA. So, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so Jeff is telling me now that so they must have done that quietly. They must not have, people like Abbott must not have promoted the fact that you can now get ACA in Texas. Yeah, there you go. Tom has an example of how it was watered down because of political opposition to Obamacare, and I'm going to call it Obamacare because he should get credit for it. Because of political opposition to Obamacare, Tom, who is a school teacher, cannot engage in the exchange and get the super cheap rates because his employer offers insurance at probably gigantic bloated rates. And that was one of the compromises. All right, fine. If your employer offers it, then you can't get it through them. Well, I was an independent contractor, so I was able to get it. Let's see here. Let's do some birthdays. Let's celebrate some birthdays today. Rick Ocasek was born on this day in 1944. He's the lead singer of the Cars. He died in 2019. That's still one of those sad deaths. The Cars, I don't believe that the Cars are as beloved as they should be. You ever jump into a Cars greatest hits album? Oh my God. You ever jump onto a Cars playlist on Spotify? Oh my God. They were great. One song after another that's like, oh yeah, this is a good song. The Cars were fantastic. And he married Paulina Poroskova. So, Rick Ocasek had a good life. He looked like a bug. He looked like a giant, weird bug. And he married the most beautiful woman in the world. And he was a rock star. So there you go. He died in 2019. Would I have taken that life? How old was Rick Ocasek when he died? Let me see. Let's see how much of a good life he had. So let's start from around 20 when he started to become a rock star. Oh, yeah. Rick Ocasek lived to be 75 years old. 75 years old. Rock star, married to Paulina. No problem. No problem. Good for you, Rick Ocasek. You did it well. Also born on this day, Rex Tillerson. Born in 1952, American businessman, engineer, and diplomat, and the 69th United States Secretary of State. You may not remember the name Rex Tillerson, but he was he was Trump's first Secretary of State. He came from big oil, and because he's a businessman, and he met with all these people, these heads of state, doing business deals. So let's make him Secretary of State. Rex Tillerson was the guy who called Trump a moron first. He was the first guy who went, "That dude's a moron. I'm out." And he just walked out. He didn't need that. Rex Tillerson had crap tons of money. He didn't need this bullshit. Rex Tillerson, happy birthday, former Secretary of State. He also called it a shit show. That was his other thing. Called Trump a moron and said this entire administration is a shit show. And he was gone. Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, let me rock it, Shaka Khan. So let me rock it, it's all I want to do. Shaka Khan, born on this day in 1953. Southside! Shaka Khan. I feel for you. She did a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's like her big crossover hit. She's a funk legend, Shaka Khan. Born on this day in 1958. A guy who has always been a head scratcher to me, but on the Pillow Talk show, we talked last night about male perversion and about how is it that men just, not all men, but a very good swath of the male population just tend to gravitate towards the creepiest and weirdest sexual perversions. Hugh Grant was born on this day in 1958. Now, I know you know what I'm going to talk about here. Hugh Grant was engaged to Elizabeth Hurley. He had Elizabeth Hurley at home. Elizabeth Hurley, Elizabeth Hurley's like in her 60s or something. I don't know, she's probably late 50s. Elizabeth Hurley is still a 10 on a scale of 1 to 9. She is gorgeous. Every now and again, some British newspaper, Liz Hurley bikini pics in her years 59, whatever. Fantastic woman, gorgeous woman, elegant movie star. Did I mention gorgeous? Elizabeth Hurley in her day, but particularly when she was with Hugh Grant, was possibly one of the most beautiful women in the world. Today's Hugh Grant's birthday. Hugh Grant had her waiting at home, and he stopped to pick up a street walking prostitute and got caught. Never forget that. That says a whole lot about what that guy's going on inside his noodle. That guy, Hugh Grant, I don't care how elegant and how sophisticated and how dignified he is in his roles. Hugh Grant's got some weird shit going on up there, man. When you got Elizabeth Hurley waiting for you at home and you end up stopping on wherever, Hollywood Boulevard, and you pick up some $50 prostitute or whatever it was. What the hell, man? First of all, here's how you know that it's some kind of weird perversion that he got off on. Because Hugh Grant had a lot of money. If Hugh Grant was really tight, there's the old adage, show me the most beautiful woman in the world and I will show you a man tired of having sex with her. People say that because that speaks to, the male perversion that, nothing is ever enough. Hugh Grant had the kind of money that he could have, first of all, he could have had a mistress. He could have had a girlfriend. He could have had any number of just unbelievably attractive women. He was a sex symbol in his own right, although one of the poofy British sex symbols, not exactly like a big muscle guy sex symbol, but he was like one of those soft sex symbols. He could have checked into a hotel and gotten one of them Hollywood high-priced escorts for like, $5,000 a night or whatever the hell they cost. I don't know. I'm not in that league. But he didn't. He just stopped and picked up some street walking. I let the dog in. Stupid dog. Sorry. This is becoming a daily thing. It's like she knows when I'm doing the show and she wants to lay here and watch me. All right, I'm coming. Let's go. Don't jump. Don't jump. All right, lay there and watch me just talk. Just sit there and see, she's just gonna sit there and watch me talk in her little dog bed. You gonna lay there? You can be good? Be good? Look at that tail going. Oh, all right, go lay in front of me. All right, now I gotta fix this. Well, that ain't good. That ain't good either. Bothers me that you can see this. And I know it bothers Ed. Oh, it's falling. I don't care. We're going to do it like that. I'll fix it later. All right. Lay there. Don't move. And I'll talk, and you'll just watch my mouth move, and you won't know if I'm talking to you or other people. Dog has... Okay, hold on. I don't like this. Fix this. Oh, I can do that. That'll work. That'll work just fine. Okay. Yeah, the dog is funny. The dog just stares at me while I'm doing this. And obviously, the dog has no computer skills. She has no idea about streaming. She doesn't know that this is a thing. She doesn't know that I'm actually talking to some people. All right, back to Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant's birthday. Let's see. April says Elizabeth Hurley has had some tragic relationships. Her last boyfriend, Steve Bing, committed suicide. Yeah. Wasn't she also, didn't like her husband, one of the cricket player, the like world's greatest cricket player who just died suddenly like 2 weeks ago? Wasn't she married to him too? Doesn't she have a kid with him? I don't know. I might be wrong, but yeah, Hugh Grant, it's his birthday. He had Elizabeth Hurley at home. He had all the money in the world. He was a sex symbol. Probably could have walked into any bar and walked out with like the best looking waitress there because he's Hugh Grant. And you know, when you're famous, they let you do things. He could have done all that. But instead, Hugh Grant went with a streetwalker. So weird. That just says a lot. All right, moving on. It's Catherine Keener's birthday. She's an American actress, and I like her, and I can picture her, but I can't tell you anything she's done. So I wanted to mention her birthday. Born on this day in 1959, Catherine Keener. Born on this day in 1968, Damon Albarn. You know, Damon Albarn. Damon Albarn he's famous to me because back when Blur, he's in the band Blur, but back when I was doing alternative radio, he came on our morning show, alternative morning show, and basically just trashed Oasis, the Gallagher brothers, like just went nuts on the Gallagher brothers. And then that started this whole war between the Gallagher brothers and Blur. It had been brewing in the local scene, but it hadn't really been public. So the morning show I was on got credit for like ground zero of the Damon Albarn Blur versus Oasis wars. There you go. Happy birthday, Damon Albarn. Jason Kidd, that's right, our head coach. Jason Kidd is celebrating a birthday today, born in 1973. Carrie Russell, born on this day in 1976. She's Felicity, right? I guess that's like what most people would know her from. But let me tell you about something else Carrie Russell has done. I don't know from Felicity. I don't know what that is. I was like a grown-up. I was like a grown man when Felicity was on, and that was a show for teenage girls, and not really my interest. So I didn't really know her. Here's what I remember from Felicity. She had nice hair. She had really nice hair. Felicity had really nice hair. That's all I remember. Really nice hair. So then she goes away. Felicity goes off the air. And years later, she does a show on FX called The Americans. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Americans, but it was ran for, I don't know, maybe 5 seasons or so. But it was about an American couple living in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And Felicity was the mom. Felicity, Carrie Russell. Carrie Russell was the mom. And then there was a dad and there were 2 kids. And the mom and dad, and they're set in the 1980s during the Cold War, suburbs of Washington, D.C., all American couple, suburban living, PTA, coaching T-ball, all that stuff. And mom and dad were Soviet spies. Is The Americans a great show? If you have never seen The Americans, go on Hulu and start binging it now, and you will thank me. The Americans was awesome. Fantastic show. Happy birthday, Carrie Russell, 1976. Also born on this day in 1992, Kyrie Irving. Do you know that Kyrie Irving he's listed as an Australian American basketball player? Australian? Really? He's born in Australia? He's born in Melbourne, Australia. I don't know if his dad was in the army or something like that, or Irving was born in Melbourne, Australia on March 29th, 92, the son of Dredrick Irving and Elizabeth Irving, American expatriates. No, they weren't in the army. They just moved there. He has an older sister, Asia, and a younger sister, London. His father, Dredrick, played college basketball at Boston University alongside Sean Teague under Coach Rick Pitino. Hold on. Why was he in Australia? After completing his college career, Irving's father moved to Australia to play professionally. There you go, for the Boleyn Boomers in this Australian Basketball League. The Irvings lived in the Melbourne suburb of Kew before relocating to the United States when Kyrie was 2 years old. Okay, so he wasn't raised in Australia. Need a guy. Yeah, he's Kyrie Irving. It's his birthday. He was the guy who can't play. He can't play home games because of the COVID vaccine mandate. Whatever. He sat out a whole bunch. He's good. Oh, is he good at basketball? But he's just such a weirdo head case. He believes that the Earth is flat. Doesn't believe in dinosaurs. He thinks that Kennedy was killed by a banking cartel. he's he thinks that the COVID vaccine was a secret plan by Satan to enslave black people. This is Kyrie Irving, but he scored 60 points recently, so we're gonna overlook all the crazy stuff. Kyrie Irving, happy birthday, dummy. Kyrie Irving, born on this day in 1992. A couple of deaths on this day. 2011, Elizabeth Taylor died. Elizabeth Taylor, for much of her life, was known as the world's most beautiful woman, which is so funny because Elizabeth Taylor was a pretty woman. That's as far as I'm going to go. She was considered the most beautiful woman on the planet for decades. Liz Taylor, the most beautiful woman on the planet. But guys, this was at a time when there were only 15 beautiful women. Hollywood, there was only 15 starlets. And yes, maybe she was the prettiest. Although, wasn't there a Sophia Loren and all that stuff? Whatever. All I'm saying is, by today's standards, where beauty is amplified through Instagram and all of these different, could you imagine Elizabeth Taylor being 25 years old now, walking around going, I'm the most beautiful? Not a chance, sweetie. You're pretty. You're, by today's standards, Elizabeth Taylor is a 7.5. There you go. 7.5 by today's standards. Most beautiful woman in the world? I don't think so. Not by today's standards. Get in line, sweetie. All right, she died today in 2011. She was crazy too. She's married 100 times. You remember the stories about her. And I don't know, I don't, she's another one of these people I don't understand why she's an icon. I don't get it. She doesn't have a bunch of Academy Awards. She's not Betty Davis or Katharine Hepburn or even Audrey Hepburn. She's not like that. She just did a couple of big box office. I don't get it. She's like the Megan Fox of the 1950s. All right, so happy death day. Also died on this day in 2016, Ken Howard, the White Shadow. Oh my God, the White Shadow. Inspired a generation of boys to sing in the shower. That's right. After football practice, after basketball practice, whatever it was, if you were in a gang shower with a bunch of guys because of the White Shadow TV show, which starred Ken Howard, you sang in the shower. A couple of years ago, I think it was Amazon Prime that had The White Shadow. I went back and watched a couple of episodes of The White Shadow as a grown-up. And oh my God, are they dumb. They're such a dumb. They're every episode was a stupid after-school special that was just really ham-fisted and preachy. Ugh. And it was all about this white man who went into this school of black kids and taught them how to be decent people. I'm not kidding. That's basically what the show was about. Could you imagine trying to do that show today? Let's do a show. I got a pitch for you, Hulu. It's about a white borderline alcoholic, broken down former basketball player who is completely out of options, but he's got a teaching certificate from his college days. He got a teaching degree, and we're going to send him to an inner city black school where the kids all behave really badly. They're terrible kids, and he's going to show them how to be decent. What do you say, Hulu? But I loved it. I loved it as a kid. And Ken Howard, I kind of liked him. Ken Howard. He died. Ken Howard died today in 2016. Dead on this day in 2021, George Siegel. George Siegel. He was a guy. Savior complex. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Byron Granger, they would have stopped you at white. It's a white guy who goes. He's a divorced alcoholic who has made every mistake in the book, but he's going to save these kids' lives by allowing them to sing in the shower after practice. I invite you to find an old episode, watch the pilot episode of The White Shadow, and just watch it and try not to laugh and roll your eyes. It's just so preachy. It's so ridiculous. All right, let's get into the things that are trending today. Ketanji Jackson Brown, and I know I'm saying it wrong. I just like to say Jackson Brown because I don't think he gets enough publicity. Jackson Brown. Ketanji Brown Jackson, or Ketanji Jackson Brown. Maybe I don't even know that I'm saying the first name right. I don't know. It's day 3 of her Supreme Court hearings, or whatever you want to call it. Look, this is political theater. That's all it is. You trot her out, and the right wing people get to ask her just idiotic questions. And I do declare, I believe I'm getting a case of the vapors. Lindsey Graham, he couldn't take it anymore today, and Lindsey Graham stormed out. I have heard enough, young lady. I'm coming down with a case of the vapors. That's all that happened. And like Lindsey Graham like asked her. I think was he the guy talking about child porn? I don't know. I was watching a little bit. He was trying to frame her into being on the wrong side of child porn, which is like, what? Who's on the wrong side of child porn other than the people in those Predator videos we've been watching the last couple of nights on Pillow Talk? And it didn't exactly go his way because she's really smart and articulate, and then his last ditch effort to try and get some headlines out of it was to just be so flustered by the answer. I've got to go. I do declare. The Shrieking Violet, Lindsey Graham. Tough guy, Lindsey Graham. Now, I have never been married, but I have some dear friends. Yeah, I bet you do, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is a man's man who served in the armed forces, and he lives with his 2 spinster sisters. And he's been living with them for years now, and they all live together since their mother died. And I've just been too busy with my political career to get into some romantic entanglement all these years. Yeah, I'm saying that Lindsey's a closet case. Absolutely, 100%. And he overcompensates for it. Lindsey Graham could be a hit. Well, not at this point because he's been so terrible on. And also, Lindsey Graham's got a lot of trouble because MAGA hates Lindsey Graham. Trump don't like Lindsey Graham. And he has bent the knee on so many occasions, and he keeps getting swatted down. Who likes Lindsey Graham? I do declare. Oh, this guy. Hillary Clinton and Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, they both have the COVID. They've both tested positive. Neither are showing symptoms. Slight symptoms is what we're hearing, but neither are sick, and they're trending together because they've been on Twitter tweeting back and forth Netflix suggestions. Jen Psaki thinks that Jen Psaki wants Hillary during her COVID. I don't know what do we call it now? Well, you stay in for a couple of days during her COVID imprisonment. Jen wants Hillary to watch Netflix's Inventing Anna, and I also suggest Inventing Anna. That's very good. If Hillary had reached out to me, which I'm surprised she didn't, if Hillary had reached out to me, I'd have said yes, Inventing Anna. Or how do you feel about The Last Kingdom? I'm watching The Last Kingdom right now, and I just love The Last Kingdom. So this is the second time that Jen Psaki has had tested positive. Again, I don't know. I have questions about these tests because my kid tested positive not too long ago. I didn't talk about it because he's got a private. He's got another family, and I don't want to drag his life into it. He tested positive and he was fine. I know a bunch of people who have tested positive who were fine. Who I have a question about the accuracy of these tests. I also think that a lot of people have tested negative. I don't know. Does it work both ways? I don't know. I guess I don't have any life experience to say that there are those on the other side. But I know a lot of people who, especially pre-vaccine, before the vaccine was available, people who were not vaccinated, who tested positive, who were like, yeah, I had to stay home for 2 weeks and got a lot done. I cleaned out the garage. I did no symptoms. Didn't get sick at all. Jen Psaki and Hillary are both double dosed and boosted. Also, this I love this because, I do a show at 9:00 Pillow Talk with James Parker, and James Parker's like, I'm not vaccinated because I've already had it. Well, where did you get that stupid information? You can still get it. If you've had COVID, you can get it again. That was like something that was floated in the very early days. Well, once you have it, then you build up a natural immunity. Yeah, but these things morph. Remember, we've got all these different variants that have come out, and you're not inoculated against those. You might have had COVID 2.0. But now we're up to whatever it is. So yeah, just because you've had it once doesn't mean you're not going to get it again. And also, I'm reading on Twitter, Jen Psaki and Hillary, they're both vaccinated and yet they got it. Yeah. Where do you people think because you're vaccinated, you're not going to get it? You get the vaccination isn't a force field, but you can still test positive. You can get coronavirus after you've been vaccinated. But you see, the thing is, because you're vaccinated, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to put you in the hospital. You're not going to get that sick. That's what it is. But there was all of this disinformation that was put out. Why? Because the vaccination was deemed political, which is so weird because it was Trump who took credit for the vaccine. He wanted it. He wants everybody to give him credit for it. And yet at the same time, his acolytes are all like, it's the evil liberal vaccine. I don't know, man. I don't know. Everybody's so confused because of the fact that everything's been politicized. But if you're vaccinated, you can still get COVID. It's just not going to hit you as hard as if you weren't vaccinated. That's my pedestrian understanding of it. It is very pedestrian. All right, New Orleans is trending. We talked about this last night. It was trending late last night. Whole bunch of tornadoes came through New Orleans last night. Here, we'll show you this one. This one is some pretty heavy video right here of this tornado that came through. Well, let me see. Where can we find it? There it is. All right. Let me pull this up for you. Look at the size of this thing. One person is dead. Entire neighborhoods have been wiped out. And here we go. Can we see it?
There it is. You can see it. Okay, folks, get to your safe place. We've got a definite tornado that is moving northeast. Looks like it's in the lower 9.
Can we move that camera and track it as it goes?
There we are. So it's really racing. You can see some rotation around the main tornado. This looks like a wedge tornado. Now maybe lifting a little bit. Another spinning around it. Folks, this is something I hoped I would never see. That EF3 that we had February 7th, 2017 caused so much damage.
Right over New Orleans East?
Right. Let's go to our storm tracker, and I want to see the reflectivity, have them side by side if I could.
All right, there you go. So that's the...
Are you a podcast?
Get out of here. That's the big-ass tornado. Like I said, at least one person is dead, many injured after devastating tornado rips through New Orleans. Mother Nature hates New Orleans. I'm telling you, like, hurricanes aren't enough. They get every hurricane. Then they get tornadoes. My goodness. Oh, boy. All right. Best thoughts for the people of New Orleans. Tornadoes are scary. Okay, so this is trending number 1. And it's funny because you know what I just said about Lindsey Graham, about how he has bent the knee to MAGA this entire time, and they all just hate him. He's not well liked by those people. He seems to be only well liked by the people who vote for him in South Carolina. But we got another one of these guys who is like super, bends the knee for MAGA and Trump. And he's trending. He was trending #1 all morning because this is really embarrassing. Donald Trump has rescinded his endorsement of Mo Brooks in Alabama's U.S. Senate race. So Mo Brooks. Mo. First of all, I would never put anyone named Mo in charge. All right. If your name is Mo, you should be like cleaning out the garbage cans behind the Wendy's. That's what your job should be if you're going by Mo. I am Mo. Now, Morris is fine, right? Maurice, that's fine too. But Mo, and you want to be in charge of big decisions? I don't think so. Get the hose and clean out the dumpster. There's maggots in it, Mo. I don't want to do that. Send Mo to do it. That's what Mo Brooks. Oh my God. Trump yanked the rug out from under him. Trump was endorsing him, and Mo had it all over. Endorsed by President Trump. Like, Mo Brooks is just a sycophant. And he has been since the rise of MAGA. But now, and I love this, because Trump is lying about why. Trump is lying about why he's rescinding his endorsement in the Alabama senatorial race for Mo Brooks, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever he says, people are going to believe. Mo Brooks. Now, if you understand who Mo Brooks is, Trump is saying that he is no longer endorsing Mo Brooks because Mo Brooks has become too woke. He's using the buzzwords to get it out to his people. Whoa, Mo Brooks isn't woke. The reason that Trump has rescinded his endorsement of Mo Brooks is because at a recent rally for, Mo Brooks for Alabama senator, at a recent rally, Mo Brooks asked the crowd to forget about the 2020 election and move forward. And Trump doesn't like that because Trump needs that narrative to stay strong and out there. So Mo Brooks accidentally telling his crowd of supporters to forget about the 2020 election pissed off Trump. And now Trump is saying, yeah, he's too woke now. like what? What does woke even mean? I don't know. But that's funny. That's why Mo Brooks is trending. Oh God. He's going to grovel. No dignity, no self-respect. Oh, please. It's going to be fun. Former President Donald Trump has withdrawn his endorsement of Mo Brooks for the U.S. Senate seat in Alabama after Brooks declined to affirm Trump's belief that the 2020 election result can be overturned. See, Trump wants people to think that you can still go back and erase time, right? And just make him president again, which there is no mechanism that allows for that. That ship has sailed. But as long as he can keep his people thinking that that's a possibility, they'll stay stirred up. And this is what I tell you. This is what both sides do. Although one side, let's be honest, one side is doing it to a far greater degree. If you can keep people agitated and stirred up, and if you can keep people believing that something was taken from them or that they're being robbed, and you can play to their most base instincts of feeling aggrieved, you can control them. And that's simply what this is all about. I don't believe that Trump actually thinks that he's going to be, I don't know, in August, they're going to say, oh yeah, okay, big breaking news. We made a mistake. Joe Biden's not president anymore. Trump, you're president. There's no way that could happen. That's unless there's like a coup, unless we have a coup in this country. And if that happens, then we got much bigger problems than just who the president is. But Mo Brooks is refused, or I don't know if he's even refusing. He may have just accidentally said, folks, let's just move on from that. And Trump went, no, don't put that out there, Mo. And now you are woke. Mo Brooks is woke, and I will no longer endorse him. God, that's so funny. It's so funny to me. School shooter. That's not funny. Let's talk about something that isn't funny. This is trending here. This has some implications here in the North Texas area. North Texas high school shooter dies in prison, officials say. Now, I don't remember this one. 20-year-old, pop-ups. A 20-year-old man who opened fire at Italy High School in Ellis County back in 2018 has died in a Texas prison. Chad Padilla was found unresponsive in his cell early Monday, this according to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Prison staff tried life-saving measures, although did they really try? Tried life-saving measures before he was taken to the unit's medical facility. Paramedics arrived and pronounced Padilla dead. Let's see here. What did he do? Padilla had been sentenced in 2019 to 40 years in prison on charges of attempted capital murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Padilla was 16 in 2018 when he went into the school's crowded cafeteria and shot a 15-year-old female classmate 6 times. So just one person. Padilla was later certified in court as an adult and convicted the next year. Doesn't say how he died. Doesn't say. He was just found dead in his cell. All right, there you go. One down. PlayStation is trending today, folks. I don't know if you're big PlayStation people, but PlayStation is trending because apparently earlier this morning it was down. There was an outage system-wide for PlayStation. So if you're a big PlayStation gamer, Psn Outage. Oh, it's okay. It's over now. I'm seeing this update. Online functions are returning for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. PlayStation Network problems appear to be resolved. There we go. That's the latest. All right, so there you go. Never mind. People were freaking out. Oh my God. People don't want healthcare, but they want their PlayStation. They want to be able to game online. That would have caused people rioting in the streets. Oh, God. Here's another goon from the past. Convicted felon and political scumbag Paul Manafort. Did you hear about this? Paul Manafort is trending today. He was trying to... So Paul Manafort was the guy who, in the early days of Trump's campaign in 2016, he was the campaign manager, and he had been, like years previous, he had been a political operative. He was, he was the lead rat in the swamp. He was one of those guys, and he had been dismissed from civilized circles in Washington for being such a supreme scumbag. But when Trump ran, he took him because he had the connections, and Paul Manafort became the campaign manager early on in Trump's campaign. And then even for Trump, Manafort was like too much of a douche, too much of a criminal, too much of a whatever. So he got jettisoned. And then one of the only guys who got taken down in the Mueller report was Paul Manafort. He got sentenced to jail for dirty dealings with Ukraine and then connections with Russia, all kinds of stuff. So the guy who got really hurt by the Mueller investigation, remember the Mueller investigation? Remember the 2 years of our lives that were occupied by that nonsense? Yeah, so Paul Manafort went to jail. He only served a very, very little amount of time. He didn't serve even close to his full sentence because, well, he's Paul Manafort and he's got money and, those people don't stay in jail. And he was in like a minimum security white collar jail, no less. So it wasn't even like he was in a prison. But he got out. And today he is trending because he got yanked off an airplane in Miami this morning. He was trying to go to Dubai and he had a falsified passport. Scumbag. Just such a scumbag this guy is. Trump aide Manafort removed from plane for revoked passport. Okay, this one says revoked. All right, the clip that I saw earlier said false or whatever. Okay, but revoked. I'll go with this one because this is ABC News. Let's see what happened here. Well, why not? Let's delve into this guy. Oh my God, these guys. All of these guys who have... Never mind. Former Trump advisor and campaign manager Paul Manafort was removed from a plane at Miami International Airport before it took off for Dubai because he carried a revoked passport. Miami-Dade police detective Alvaro Zabalata confirmed that Manafort was removed from the Emirate airline flight without incident, but directed further questions to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. That agency did not immediately respond to an email Wednesday seeking comment. A lawyer who has represented Manafort did not immediately return calls either. Manafort, 72, led former President Trump's campaign for several months during the 2016 race, but was ousted in August of that year after revelations about his business dealings in the Ukraine. He was later indicted on a broad array of financial crimes as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. He was convicted by a jury in August of 2018 and later pled guilty in federal court in Washington. In May of 2020, Manafort was released from a low-security prison where he was serving a more than 7-year federal sentence amid concerns about the coronavirus. Oh, so he got let out because of coronavirus from his minimum security country club prison. Although Manafort had not served long enough to be eligible for release under prison guidelines, the Bureau of Prisons decided to free him because of his age and his health vulnerabilities. All right, so that was like 4 years ago because of his age and health vulnerabilities. 4 years ago. Now here we are 4 years later. He's too sickly and frail to spend time quietly in a minimum security country called Tillerson. But he can get on a plane and go to Dubai. He can travel, he can jet set still, but he can't. No, you know what? He can't take tennis lessons during the day and do basket weaving in the evening. And he can't sit in his nice little hotel room like cell. That's too much for him. Special treatment. That's all I'm saying. Tyreek Hill is trending. This is big. This is pretty big. And I know there's so much NFL news going on. Again, we are in this crazy sports window where all of these trending topics are sports related. NCAA, now we got an NIT, we've got baseball deals, we've got football free agency. Oh God, it's just so much of so much. But this is a big one. The Kansas City Chiefs have granted Tyreek Hill permission to seek a trade, which they're losing a lot of their, I don't know what, but here's the thing. Jets and Dolphins seem to be the two teams that are fighting it out right now for permission to bring in Tyreek Hill. Jets and Dolphins are in serious talks to trade for Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill per league sources. Hill and the Chiefs are mulling what to do, but Hill's time in KC looks like it could be coming to an end. They're talking about a haul of draft picks for Tyreek Hill, which I got to tell you, my Bears need weapons, but no, I am so glad that they're not being mentioned. Now watch, they're going to end up getting this guy. Somehow the Bears shocked. No. My team is rebuilding. My team is not giving up future draft picks. My team needs to acquire. We need to trade Robert Quinn. We traded Khalil Mack. We need to trade people that we can get something for so that we can rebuild over the next couple of years while we've got a young quarterback on a rookie deal. That's what we need to do. And I don't understand why the Jets think that they're any different. Can you imagine? The Jets are going to, Tyreek Hill's going to get number one. At least he's going to get one first rounder. He's probably going to get a first, a second, whatever. There's going to be a haul of draft picks coming to Kansas City if he ends up going to the Jets. Why on earth the Jets or the Dolphins would be? Tyreek Hill should go to a team that's in win now mode. And neither the Dolphins or the Jets are in win now mode. But there you go. Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs are in win now mode. I don't know why the Chiefs would be willing to give him permission. There's got to be a rift. And it's got to have something to do with Patrick Mahomes. Just saying. So that's why Tyreek Hill is trending. Teacher strike in Sacramento is happening. A bunch of teachers are striking because after months of negotiations, I suppose, the city of Sacramento came back with a less than 2% raise being offered to teachers. My God, we just shit on teachers. We just shit on them. A 2% raise. That's not even the cost of living. That doesn't even keep pace with a national average cost of living increase. But they're just, we'll give you 1.8% raise. How's that sound, teachers? And they're like, yeah, no, piss off. So Sacramento teachers are going on strike. Hillsong is trending. Do you know what Hillsong is? Hillsong is like, okay, so Hillsong is one of these mega churches, but it's a global mega church. It's a mega church that has really leaned into the streaming kind of aspects. They're down there in Australia. There's a Hillsong in Brooklyn. There's a Hillsong in Los Angeles. I don't know if there's a Hillsong here in Dallas, but Hillsong's whole deal is that they're the hip cool church. You know, we have rock bands play, and the hipsters with the beards, we have beard contests, and we do vape blowing contests. You know, they're like one of those. They're trying to get like young people involved in their weird Australian Christian church. Well, they're trending, and they're trending because it turns out the leader, he's a sex perv. The leader of the Hillsong Church has got some inappropriate relationships in his past, and he has stepped down. I think also the guy who runs Justin Bieber is like a member of the Hillsong Los Angeles. That it's like that kind of thing. Megachurch senior pastor resigns amid allegations of inappropriate relationships. The lead pastor at a prominent megachurch has resigned from his post amid claims of inappropriate relationships. Dude's name is Brian Houston. There aren't any real details about what he did, but he claims that he takes Ambien, and that's why he does crazy, sexy perv stuff. Okay. I have taken Ambien. I love Ambien. I haven't taken it in a decade, but I love Ambien, and I love Ambien for the high. You just got to know before you take the Ambien, you hide your phone. Now, don't hide your phone on Ambien because you'll never find it. You will never find it. My point is, I love the Ambien high. Like I used to, and don't do this. Oh God, do I really? I need to, there's nobody's going to sue me. But I used to take an Ambien and then do a shot of Jameson whiskey. And I would do that at 9 o'clock at night, knowing full well that I didn't want to fall asleep until 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. And I would do it early because I would just enjoy the buzz. I would just putter around my house and do things. And oh my God, the Ambien high is so great. But folks, you got to be responsible with it. You don't drive anywhere. You got to know. You're like, okay, even though I feel like I'm totally fine and I could go drive right now to go get some tacos or something, you can't do it. You've got to have that in your mind. You got to know that you can't do it. I'll give you a quick Ambien story. I went to bed. I took some Ambien. I went to bed and I woke up and I was driving into work in the morning and I pulled out of my garage and I was pulling around the front of my place and I looked at my balcony and there was an extravagant mousetrap. Remember the mousetrap game with all? There was this extravagant structure that had been constructed on my balcony that I had no recollection of doing. I made a fort for my dog Blue at 2 o'clock in the morning out on my porch. That was amazing. There were couch cushions outside, just outside in the homes. There were couch cushions and there were blankets draped over and there were potted plants holding things down. Insane. I remember doing it. That's Ambien for you. Ambien will make you do crazy things. Another example, I had gone out to dinner and, the little night of drinking with some friends and with my wife. And I came home and I had to walk the dog. And so I went out to walk the dog. And I decided that I was going to go into one of these buildings that's under construction just to see what it was like. And I'm walking through the building with the dog in the building that's under construction. And I look out of the front of the street and I see this car going really slow. And I'm like, oh, okay, I better get out of the building. Turned out it was my wife. She's driving around. She goes, what are you doing? And I go, I'm just walking the dog. She goes, you've been gone 2 hours. What? I feel like I've been gone 20 minutes. Ambien is great. With all of that said, I've never turned into a sex perv, so I don't know what this dude at Hillsong Church is talking about. He says, yeah, I took Ambien and I became a sex perv. I took Ambien and suddenly I liked young girls or whatever it was. That's not what, look, I will give you that there are a lot of silly things you can do, but don't blame the Ambien. If you went down that road, it's because you had that already in you. You were already, it was already something that you were thinking about. And then the Ambien just made you go, I don't care. I'm just going to talk to her. I'm going to touch her. I'm going to ask her to touch me, whatever it is. Ambien can be fun. Just don't try to blame your bizarre, borderline illegal and inappropriate sexual proclivities on Ambien because that's already in you. Never had that. And that's why Hillsong is trending. Senator Mike Braun from Indiana is trending. He was trending yesterday too, but I don't really want to get into it. But today he's walking back what he said yesterday that caught him trending. Here's what he said. Okay. So Mike Braun, senator from Indiana, is pro-life, as many people are. That's fine. He is pro-life, and he made a statement to the press yesterday that said that judges engaged during Roe versus Wade, judges engaged in judicial activism from the bench when they made abortion a federal law, pro-choice. When Roe versus Wade passed, the judges were acting as activists, he said. So then he was asked, and he went on to say that he believes that it should be a state-by-state thing, which I don't know. That's not what this is about. I don't want to get into that debate. I don't know. I suppose we could walk through that, but I have no interest. Again, because I'm a guy, and I'm just going to shut up on the whole abortion thing because I'm a guy. I'm going to leave this to the ladies. You women hash this out. I'll back whatever the majority says. I should not have a vote. So he said that, yeah, that's the sort of thing that should be a state by state thing. So then somebody asked him if it was judicial activism when the Supreme Court, was it Loving, the Loving case, which made interracial marriage legal? Because in some states they were like, it's illegal for a white man to marry a black woman, or vice versa, or whatever. It was illegal. And then there was this landmark Supreme Court case that made it the law of the land federally that interracial marriage was fine. It was legal. So he was asked that. He said, was that judicial activism? And here's what he said. He said, this is what he got in trouble for yesterday. He said, yes, it was judicial activism. I think that something that if you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical. He later added that it was better for states to manifest their point of view rather than for decisions that homogenize the country. In a statement to The Hill later Tuesday, Braun said that he misunderstood the question as it was posed. So basically what he came out for advocating yesterday was that interracial marriage should not be the law of the land, and that if a state wants to make it illegal for white people to marry black people, that they should have the right to make that a crime. Which is just so mind-blowing to me. And I fully understand that there are people of other generations who that was not a common occurrence. That was not something that you saw. I remember being young, and you would never see, where I was from anyway, you would never see a black and white couple together. And when you did, it was exotic. It was like, whoa, that's different. I've never seen that. No feelings either way. I was a kid. I didn't, but it was like, oh, that's interesting. But I have to tell you, for people today and for people the last couple of generations, it's an afterthought. Nobody even thinks about it anymore. Do you remember? I can remember an argument being among some people as to why black people and white people shouldn't marry. I can remember hearing this as a child. Well, it's not that I have a problem with it. It's just that life will be so difficult for them. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean life will be so difficult? Life will only be difficult for them because of assholes like you. If life shouldn't be difficult, if you see a black and white couple and people start making life difficult for them, you're not going to speak up. You're not going to say, hey, leave them alone. That's the only reason life would be difficult, is if people who are supposedly open-minded as you are. I have no problem with it, but it's just that, think of the children. Think of the children. Have you ever seen a half black, half white kid? 9 times out of 10, they are beautiful and they don't have any problems. That's you start mixing the races like that, and you start getting a whole new exotic look. You start getting like, wow, that's a beautiful human being. Maybe that's what God intended for us to reach perfection. I don't know. Here's what I think about it. And my kid too. My kid is attracted to black girls primarily. He said that. He said that he wasn't attracted to Latino girls anymore. At which point I said, your girlfriend is Latino, which I think he was having a problem with his girlfriend, which is why he said it. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so what's your type? What do you like? And he goes, Dad, I really like, I think I like black girls, which is totally cool. And I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, I can see that. But what is so wonderful about that statement is that I couldn't imagine being that comfortable saying that to, I don't know, my grandpa in 1980. There would have been a whole different thing. And when he said it to me, I was like, all right, very cool. We have like some really gross Irish almost inbred kind of genetics going on. If you want to, take this family line a little bit further and you want to mix it up and you want to get us some new gene, that's all right by me, son. You go ahead. I do not have a problem. But to my son, who is 12 years old, the idea of someone being off limits because they have different skin color is as weird as it would be for me to consider someone off limits because they have a different eye color. You see how silly that is? You see how weird that is? I don't know. I like it. So anyway, this guy, Mike Braun, Senator Mike Braun, believes that, states should be allowed to make it legal if you want. But he's trending again today because he walked it back and he said that he misunderstood the question. No, you didn't. You just know that is an untenable position for you to take, especially if you're a senator. So you realize that, and now he's trending again. Maybe Mason maybe Mason just likes whatever type of girl. Yeah, he does. He just likes girls, and I'm all for that. Jeff, I'm guessing that you intended your previous comment to be in quotations because Jeff Glenn is saying it's not that I'm against it. It's just that the children will be treated poorly. No, they won't. No, they will not. They will not be treated poorly. They would be treated poorly in 1965, maybe, but not in 2022. That's you. Again. It would be like me. Oh, I can't date her because she has blonde hair. I can't. She has a different hair color than I do. People love each other, man. You got to encourage these people to love each other. People loving each other is way better than people hating each other. And I completely understand why other generations who grew up in different times might have a different point of view on this. But you've got to remain open. You got to remain open. You got to open your heart. You got to just be like, you know what? If these people love each other, well, what the hell do I have a problem with it for? Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe you're not attracted to a different skin color, and that's fine. There are all kinds of things about women that I'm not attracted to. Skin color isn't really one of them, but although I've never dated a black girl. I've been on a date with a black girl, but I've never dated a black girl. I've never been in a relationship with a black girl, but not because I'm against it, just because, I don't know. I don't really date all that much anyway. But I've dated outside my race. I dated a girl who was born in Syria. I dated a girl who was born in Okinawa. I've dated Hispanic girls. I dated white girls. Hey, pretty is pretty to me. Attractive is attractive to me. Doesn't really matter. All right. Speaking of King Tut is trending. Now, this is why I got a little bit behind today. Woo, it's hot in here. Got the heat on. It was cold last night, but I think it's probably getting warm now. Let's see, what is the temperature outside? All right, you guys are going to be able to tell me what the temperature is outside here in North Texas quicker than my damn thing will spit it out. So if you know what the temperature is, I should probably turn off the heat. Whew, I'm starting to sweat. Oh, Byron, it's all pink in the center. You pig. And I'd like to correct Jeff Glenn. He did intend that statement about the children being treated poorly. He did intend for that to be in quotations. 46 degrees in Iowa, 39 in Missouri. Leslie, it's so good. You see, guys, Leslie's back. She's working her butt off. Let's see. All right, King Tut. King Tut is trending. Why is King Tut trending? King Tut is trending because they're pulling his bones, literally, pulling his bones out of storage, and they're going to put them on display there in Washington, D.C. for the 100th anniversary of Dr. Carter discovering King Tut. It's been nearly 100 years since the discovery of King Tut's tomb in Egypt, and DC's National Geographic Museum will be holding a special exhibit to honor the archaeological feat this June. Beyond King Tut, the immersive experience, we'll take an in-depth look at the boy who became a pharaoh more than 3,000 years ago. Can we just stop here for a minute? I mean, really think about what 3,000 years ago was. Guys, we're only in the year 2000 from zero. From the year zero, we're only at 2000. Well, 22. We're 2022. So King Tut was 3,000 years ago. That means you had to go 1,000 years back after zero just to get when he lived. So you have to go 2,000 years back to, the year one. You have to go back to the year one, and then you have to go 1,000 more years back. That is crazy. We should all be getting high right now and talking about that, because that's a total stoner conversation about how, man, is that crazy. That just blows my mind. Dude is old. Like I said, I'm watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix, which is a great show. I love all the Viking stuff, and The Last Kingdom is like sort of a part of the whole Viking story. The Last Kingdom is so good, but The Last Kingdom takes place 1,000 years ago. The last, like around 980, like 980, just before like the year 1,000 or 10,000, I guess we would have called it, since we call this 20. So yeah, so just like the year 10,000. So like back then, like before the Middle Ages, like, this is before there was an England. That's what The Last Kingdom is about. It's about the coming together of all the different kingdoms that occupied the Isle to create one England. Anyway, I watched Last Kingdom and I go, holy crap, was this a long time ago? I mean, they still believe in like magic and, mystics and seers and all this kind of weird stuff. And King Tut was 2,000 years before them. They're like 2,000 years of it. God, we've been around for a long time. We have been around forever. So anyway, Washington's going to drag out the whole King Tut thing. And like I said, when I was little, I don't know, late 70s, early 80s, every school in America went to the museum when King Tut and his bones rolled through town. As has already been mentioned in the chat room, Steve Martin had a big hit, the King Tut. Do, 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 do. And I remember, very excited. We were all excited. First of all, you could go to like an educational health center on a field trip and you'd be excited because it was a field trip. But this was a good one. The museum field trips, the zoo field trips, those were the cool field trips. Those were the ones that were like the highlight of the year. But King Tut, oh my God, when we got to go see King Tut in like 5th grade or 6th grade or whatever it was, I don't even remember, but it was, I remember learning a whole bunch of stuff about him and then thinking, so this is what I thought when I was like 8 years old. I'm like, so in the grand scheme of all of like the pharaohs and the people that ruled Egypt, this guy wasn't even like an important one. This is got like, if you went back, if we were like went 3,000 years in the future and they rolled out like, James Buchanan, President James Buchanan, suddenly the whole world went nuts because they found the bones of President James Buchanan. And everybody was like, well, let's write a song about James Buchanan. Like James Buchanan was not an important president. In fact, by most lists, he's the worst president that we've ever had, which in and of itself kind of makes him important. But James Buchanan, like that's what King Tut was. King Tut wasn't like a big important. He died at 18. He was made pharaoh at the age of 8 years old. And the only reason that we celebrated him was because we found him first. We found him. We found his stuff. And then it's like, oh, we found all his stuff. So let's put him on tour. And then everybody in this 3,000 years later, they'll all think that King Tut was some important figure in the history. He's not. He was, first of all, you want to know something else about King Tut? I told you I was a little bit late today because I fell into this big hole where I'm just reading all this stuff. And I'm on the National Geographic page and I'm reading the history of King Tut and that era of Egypt. It's fascinating. I like that stuff because it is so far ago. So far ago? Yeah, I know. So long ago. First of all, King Tut was probably severely retarded. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. He died at 19 years old because he had like a whole crap ton of diseases. Like he had like all kinds. He never was able to walk without, he had a dead leg and he had to use a cane. He dragged his leg. He had severe scoliosis. Like his spine was completely curved over. He was a mutant. King Tut was a mutant boy. And you know why? Because his mom was also his aunt. His mom and dad were brother and sister. And they come from a long line of mom and dads who were brothers and sisters. King Tut was not important. King Tut was just kind of a drool case who they, the family was the people in charge. Oh, and here's the other thing. He wasn't a king. He wasn't a king. They didn't have the word king. They didn't call him king. He wasn't a king. That's like a European Western term for, he was a pharaoh. He was a pharaoh. That's what he was. A pharaoh, not a king. Nobody ever called him King Tut in his day. We called him that because Pharaoh Tut doesn't sound as marketable. So we called him King Tut. The family tree looked like a flagpole, says Jeff Glenn. He's right. Yeah, he was crippled from inbreeding. He had all kinds of problems. Like they said that he had breathing difficulty. It's why he died at 18 years old. He died at 18. He didn't live long. He's like, yeah. And 3,000 years ago, think of the medical attention that he got. I'm sure that the medical attention that King Tut received back in his day did more damage than good. He had all kinds of crazy. Tom says, most modern evolution of the human race has taken place in the last 200 years. Think about technology in the last 75 years. Yeah, Tom, I do. I think about it all the time. Have you ever read the book Chariot of the Gods? Huh? Eric von Däniken? Oh, Chariot of the Gods. I am a great believer in Chariot of the Gods because of exactly what Tom Beller just pointed out. They did nothing. They did nothing for like 2,000 years. 2,500 for 2,800 years. Let's just say that. So they did nothing for like 2,800 years. Human advancement did nothing. They rode horses for 2,800 years. They fought with sticks for 2,800 years. They used fire in its most rudimentary form for 2,800 years. And then all of a sudden, we've got cars, we've got electricity, we can fly, we have computing, we've got digital this, yes, you're absolutely right. The majority, chariots of the gods is all I'm saying. If you don't know what chariots of the gods is, well then, if you live in a state where marijuana is legal, you need to get really high, and then you need to study up on Eric von Däniken and chariots of the gods. I'll nutshell it for you. Chariots of the Gods posits that because of what Tom just said about how there was like 2,800 years of absolutely almost no progress among the humans, that something must have occurred suddenly that made us jump and take such huge leaps in the last 200 years or so. And the theory is aliens. The aliens have been watching us for 3,000 years going, these fucking people are not getting it. We need to help them. We need to go down there. We need to give one dude something. And then that dude was like Edison, right? Like something like that. Because there is no clean evolutionary chain of this thing led to this thing, this thing led to this thing, this thing led to this thing. That didn't exist until like 200 years ago when electricity was discovered, and then suddenly, boom, we're off to the races. Chariots of the Gods. Within the last 200 years, some alien intelligence said, you people are embarrassing yourselves. You got it. Here, take this. It's called electricity. This is how you harness it. Let me see what you can do with that. And then they left, and then we just saw the whole world change in the last 200 years. Let's see, what else do I have? All right, there you go. King Tut. They're rolling out the old bones of the James Buchanan of the Egyptian era, the Egyptian dynasty, whatever that's about. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. What else is trending? Oh, that's not good. Okay. King Tut. Moving along, how about King Richard? King Richard, Richard Williams. Richard Williams, who is the subject of the movie that's nominated for a whole bunch of things. Richard Williams is Serena and Venus Williams' father. He was their tennis coach. Will Smith plays him in the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I mean, I've had ample opportunity to see the movie, but I haven't seen the movie because I'm like, man, this it looks like an after school special. You know, it's like I would like to see a movie about Venus or Serena Williams, and I suppose much of this movie is about them, but yeah, I don't really care about their dad. I don't, what's next? The Earl Wood story. I don't know. And I had heard things about Richard Williams over the years that made me go, are we going to really, like, he's got, I don't know, whatever. He just seems, I don't know. I just don't know that this movie, which is entirely backed by his daughters who love him, isn't going to give us like the full story. So whatever. Anyway, Richard Williams is trending. King Richard is trending because apparently he's not doing well. He's really sick. He's like 83 or something like that years old. He can't speak anymore. And so the question is Richard Williams okay? And will he be at the Oscars? And they're saying, no, he's not going to be at the Oscars. But his daughters were his lovely, talented, superstar daughters will be there. The other thing I didn't realize, and I guess I should because they've been around forever. To me, Venus and Serena Williams are always going to be like 28 and 26. That's how old they're always going to be to me. I just think of them in their prime. And it's also interesting that for years, Venus Williams was the best player on the planet. Venus Williams was a dominant female. And then they started talking about she's got a little sister too. She's got a little sister. And then Serena just blew past Venus. I mean, we stopped talking about Venus around what? 2000, something like that. And it just became all about Serena. So two sisters, the most dominant female. Well, actually, I don't know where Venus ranks, but I know Serena is certainly in the conversation for GOAT. She's tremendous. But yeah, so the concern is about Richard Williams and will he be able to appear? So that's why he's trending, because apparently he can't speak. It's very sad. You get old. I didn't know Venus and Serena were as old as they were. They're both in their 40s. I didn't know. I just always think of them as young kids. Okay. Goldman Sachs is trending. Goldman Sachs is trending alongside David Solomon. This is so. Hold on. Give me 10 seconds. Let me, because I've been going back and forth on this story about how I feel about it. Hold on. Okay. All right. Here's how I feel in this moment. David Solomon is the CEO. He's the boss of Goldman Sachs. We know what Goldman Sachs is. Goldman Sachs is one of the big money banks, trading houses, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. David Solomon is the head of Goldman Sachs. He's a billionaire, this whole thing. David Solomon has been the CEO of Goldman Sachs has been added to the lineup of Lollapalooza. That's right. The CEO of Goldman Sachs has been added to the lineup of Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza, a concert series that is now almost 30 years old, that was started by Perry Farrell as an antidote to corporations and their intrusions into rock and roll, now has featured on one of their stages the CEO of Goldman Sachs, David Solomon. Now, you might be asking, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to have spreadsheets and is he going to talk about what's he going to do? He's going to demonstrate his golf swing? No, here's the crazy thing. And this is where I keep going back and forth. And I've known this for a while. And most of the time when I hear about this, because it trends from time to time, most of the time when I hear about this, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, oh God, this guy, David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs. David Solomon is a club DJ. And like it or not, people say he's a good club DJ. He's like a 60-something-year-old man who doesn't like to golf. So about 10 years ago, instead of going out golfing like all the other people do, who are billionaire old white men, he bought all of this DJ equipment and he turned himself into a club DJ. He plays all over the Hamptons. He plays private parties. He plays in Manhattan at big fancy clubs. He plays in Miami. He jets around on his own jet to go to all of these different, and he's playing Lollapalooza. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon is one of the DJs who will be performing at Lollapalooza. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's like I roll my eyes and I'm like, I don't know. And honestly, here's another thing. So 30 years ago, I used to pal around with DJs, real DJs, Jam and G. I used to hang out with these guys and I used to go, we used to do these big house parties and stuff. This was in the era of house music on the south side of Chicago. And we used to do these house parties and it was legit. It was like real serious, legit founding era Chicago house music DJ stuff. And, G would, from time to time, disappear to go off with a lady because, the ladies love the DJs. And I would get the DJ for a while. And it was real DJing. It was real old school records and a mixing board DJing. And I have the utmost respect for these guys. These guys who did it back in the era where they were, I was the guy that was pulling the records. He'd say, get me this one. And I'd pull the record and I'd pull it out and I'd hand it to him and he'd go, no, give me another one. Give it. It's like these guys were talented. They were mixing. They were doing it for real. Now it's all computerized. Now you're just hitting play. You're hitting play and you can lay the beats and edit everything together long before you appear in front of people so that everything is perfect and you've already heard it. And I think that's what this David Solomon guy is doing. He's not a real old school club DJ. He's not a real, and I'm not talking about guys who would segue Grand Funk Railroad some kind of wonderful into Journey's Don't Stop Believing. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real dance music in the day club DJs, especially like where I was from on the south side of Chicago during the house music scene. Those guys were legit. Half the people that we did club shows with went on to be really famous international club house DJs. Jam and G, the guy that I just mentioned to you, George Cavelli is his name. He tours the world to this day. He's like, his Facebook page, he's like, I'm in Paris doing a club this weekend. He's my age. He's 50 something years old, but he's one of those original Chicago house DJs. Those guys were real. This guy, David Solomon, I don't know. I don't know if he's a real DJ. I don't know. But here, we've got some video of him, so let's check him out. Let's see. Let's see. All right, here we go. He plays by the name DJ D Soul, okay? All right, so let's pull this dude up. Let's see what he's getting into. This is him playing at some club in the Hamptons because, of course, he plays for a bunch of super rich white people. But this is him. This is the CEO of Goldman Sachs who will be performing at Lollapalooza this year. I also noticed it's not a very diverse crowd at this club in the Hamptons. So, everything is... That is one of the most powerful money men in the world right there. That is the CEO of Goldman Sachs. All right, let's see. I'm just looking to see what kind of diversity we got here at this club where he's playing. None. All right, there you go. Not that that's important. I'm just saying, if you're doing dance music and you're a club DJ, I want to see some black people smiling at what you're doing. That's all. Before I chime in on whether or not you're good or not in this electronic pre-programmed age of the DJ, I just want to know. I want to see somebody who I would deem being credible. Oh, Jeff's getting in the chat room. Jeff's talking about inbreeding rabbits. Apparently, I'm boring you guys. If the chat room is now going that far off the rails about inbreeding rabbits, I am doing something wrong. All right, what else is trending today? Another rich person. We talked about this yesterday at the end of the show. Mackenzie Scott, of course, she's Bezos's ex-wife. She donated $436 million to Habitat for Humanity. Wonderful. You know, I mean, if you're like me and you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, it's nice to know that some of the money, is going to something other than a super rich billionaire trying to build rockets to blast him and his friends off into space. It's nice to know that every time that I watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, that some of the money that is going for that is actually going to do something good. Mackenzie Scott, $500 million she gave to Habitat for Humanity. Good for her. Jeff Bezos, he's building rockets trying to send Pete Davidson to space. His ex-wife, she's giving $500 million to Habitat for Humanity. Who wins that one in the soul game? So good for her. She's also worth $62 billion. Now that's a divorce settlement. $62 billion. And Bezos himself didn't even flinch. She's like, Although I think she owns, she's worth that much. I don't know if she's liquid. She's certainly liquid to the extent that she can write a check for $436 million, $500 million. But I think she's like a 12% owner of Amazon. She's got like 12% of the company, which that would have been the way to go too. You go out during the divorce and you say, yeah, you know what? I don't need child support. Here's what I want. I want 10% of the largest company on the planet. That's fine. Fine by me. 10% of the largest company on the planet has got to be equal to owning 100% of McDonald's, right? So if you were going to say, we'll get divorced and I want the entire McDonald's brand, I'd take that. I bet you 10% of Amazon is more than 100% of McDonald's. Whatever. She's worth $62 billion. Good for her. Tiger attack. There was a tiger attack in the great state of Florida. This was at some Everglades. I don't know if it was one of these roadside petting. Whenever I'm on these road trips, man, especially once you get in, like driving between Chicago. Oh, whoa, we got some breaking news here. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, we got some breaking news. Breaking news. Is it trending yet? Yep, there it is. Okay. Let's see here. All right. How long ago did this break? Okay, within the last 10 minutes. Yeah, looks like within the last 10 minutes. Former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright has died at the age of 84. Madeleine Albright died today at the age of 84. She was Clinton, right? Yeah. That's terrible. Okay, so again, don't know if she was sick, don't know anything more than that, but there you have it. Madeleine Albright, the first female Secretary of State, has died. I know that everything is politicized and all that, and she was a Secretary of State under Clinton, but she has over the years been widely considered by people on both sides of the aisle to have been an incredibly competent Secretary of State. Madeleine Albright has never truly been politicized in the way that, her successor as female Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. Or wait, no, was Susan, no, was it Condoleezza? I don't know who was the second, whatever. But all of those people got politicized, and however you want to see it, Madeleine Albright, no one has mentioned Madeleine Albright for 10 years since we got crazy political. But before that, even Republicans were like, yeah, she's a classy lady. She's a good lady. She knew what she was doing. She was good at her job. So there you have it. All right, back to a tiger attack. There was a tiger attack in the Florida Everglades, one of these roadside attractions. Yep. And every time, I would drive from the bulk of my cross-country driving the last couple of years has been between Chicago and Dallas. And once you get about, 300 miles outside of Chicago, still in the funky state of Illinois. Illinois is such a funky state outside the Chicago area. It just turns into this like dystopian wasteland. You start to see all of these, hey, come on up 4 miles down the road. You can pet a white Siberian tiger. All of these crazy. And that's how people in Southern Illinois talk. You start to get that, that's Illinois. People in Illinois talk like that. You start to see them. And then, man, it just ramps up the further south you get. You get into like the bottom tip of Missouri, or the eastern side of Missouri. They got all these roadside attractions with animal farms. Arkansas got the animal farms. Tennessee got the animal farm. You just see them all the way down. And just without fail, my kid would be like, I want to go to that. I'm like, no, never. You will never. You want to do something like that? You go with your mom. You let your mom stop you at some Cooter's roadside zoo and play with some bear that's being held behind some chain link fence that's all rusty and ready to knock down. No, not with me, son. You are not going. We're not going to. Well, and here's why. Because at one of these things in Florida, a tiger went a little nuts and took the arms off of its. All right, I'll read it to you. A tiger attacked an employee at a Florida Everglades tourist attraction Tuesday, leaving him hospitalized with severe injuries to both arms and legs. The tiger was being fed by its caretaker in an enclosed area when another employee who was not authorized to go inside. See, they don't follow rules. I think that these people are just idiots and they think it can't be that hard to take care of a tiger. No way. Yes, it is that hard, because if you fail to do it properly, the results could be cataclysmic. This is a tiger, for crying out loud. Wooten's Everglades Airboat Tours and Zoo is where this happened, in Okeechobee, Florida. The tiger attacked the employee, identified as a 50-year-old man, injuring both his arms and legs. He was taken to a hospital. The tiger's caretaker was able to safely contain the tiger. That tiger's fine. And you know what? The tiger should be fine, because the tiger just did what we all know tigers do. And tigers kill things. That, first of all, your house cat will kill things. Your house cat is just a tiny tiger. That's all. The behavior that your house cat exhibits on a daily business, the finickiness, just doesn't want to be a part of your whole scene. The way that they get crazy with a fly against a screen porch, that's just a tiny tiger. That's just a tiger who knows that I don't have the power to do anything more than this. But oh man, if I was 700 pounds like a tiger, I would be acting different. I have no interest in any of this stuff. So there you go. I don't know if he's going to be fine, whatever. His arms are jacked up. Crazy people. You want to make a little money on a roadside attraction? Get a billboard and advertise the cleanest toilets in town. Something like that. What are you doing? Tigers? Do you know how much work that's going to be? You're going to have tigers, you got bears, you got wolves. That's not a sustainable business. And even if it is, you're only going to break even. Do you know how much your food budget is going to be? And then what? You're not going to feed them? Well, then you're going to have real problems, because then they're going to be hungry and they're going to eat a tourist. That is not good. A little gift shop. How about advertise the best sweet tea you're going to find? Something like that. Tigers? You're trying to lure people off the road with tigers. Yeah, that's stupid. Anybody who wants to own a tiger is a moron. There you go. I said it. Did I just hurt you? Are you someone that wants to own a tiger? Because I think you're a moron if you want to own a tiger. Liberland, not to be confused with Tigerland. Liberland is trending. You know what Liberland is? This is so stupid. This is such a stupid idea. But they're doing it. Rich guys and their money. So Liberland is a proposed Metaverse city that will have no rules, no police, and no laws. And it's just going to let humans come and just be cool. It's just going to, and some billionaire is backing it. Architecture firm has plans to design a metaverse centering around self-governance. Now, here's where it is. So obviously you can't do that in Utah, or you can't do that in Ohio, So this is happening like somewhere in some no man's land between like Serbia and Bosnia and somewhere over there, like some weird little swash of land that is ripe to become its own country if the price is right. You know, some dude just bought all the land and he's like, can I be my own country? And they're like, yeah, nobody gives a shit. And so now he's like, okay, so I got my own little country here. This is a little town and I'm going to build this kick-ass country and we're not going to have Zaha Hadid, one of the world's most prominent architectural firms, has shared plans to develop a utopian world, according to a new report by CNN. Let's see here. Several illustrations of the futuristic and urban metaverse designated Liberland were also shared by Za. Curved buildings, a city hall, collaborative working spaces, shops, and business incubators can be found throughout the virtual platform. Perhaps most notably, the architecture firm's digital community will focus on self-governing ideals based on Liberland, a micronation founded in 2015 by Czech politician Vít Jedlička. If you start off with a clean environment and you don't throw garbage around, that can be maintained without much policing. The real Liberland, this is what I'm interested in, the real Liberland is situated between Serbia and Croatia and has 7,000 approved residents. What does that mean, approved residents? While the micronation is not recognized by any other country, it boasts its own flag, its own anthem, and its own cryptocurrency. Now, the micronation is hoping to stake its claim in the virtual world as well, a metaverse which functions. Okay, I don't care. Now it's getting all out there, but whatever. So apparently this thing's been around for 7 years now, Liberland. Is there a Wikipedia page on that? Let's see what Liberland is on Wikipedia. See if that's a thing. See if they give us a little bit more, because this has got to be the stupidest idea. No rules, no police, no taxes. 7,000 people live there? Yeah, Liberland. It's a micronation. The Free Republic of Liberland. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's got a Wikipedia page. All right, let's check in on this. Wink, wink. Real nation. Liberland, officially known as the Free Republic of Liberland, is a micronation claiming an uninhabited parcel of disputed land on the western bank of the Danube between Croatia and Serbia. It was proclaimed on April 13th, 2015 by Czech libertarian politician and activist Vít Jedlička. The official website of Liberland states that the nation was created in the wake of the ongoing Croatia-Serbia border dispute, the parcel of land, blah, 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 blah. Okay, what does it say? Is there anything? All right, is anything even built there? I don't know what I'm looking at here. All right, you know what? This sounds like something I can delve into. Maybe on the Pillow Talk show. We've got other important things to get to. Like magic mushrooms. That's right, folks. Magic mushrooms is trending on this day. Jeff Glenn says you can get a goat for like $300 to $600 on Craigslist. It's a bit overpriced. I'm not familiar with the ever-evolving goat market, but $600 for a goat seems a little bit rich. Seems like you could just steal a goat. See, you want a goat? I would think you would have to steal a goat from somebody. Where do you buy a goat? The dark web? How do I buy a goat? Magic mushrooms, speaking of the dark web. Magic mushrooms are trending today. How magic mushrooms could follow in the footsteps of cannabis. That's right. A lot of people trying to make magic mushrooms legal now, just like cannabis. And gotta be honest with you, I'm totally fine with it. They ain't my cup of tea. Ha! Because a lot of times you make a tea out of the mushrooms. And I didn't even intend that joke. Ooh, it's hot. Woo! I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally fine. The only drug that I really would have a problem with it becoming legal would be like cocaine. Cocaine should not be legal. Cocaine is not good. There are apps. It makes you feel wonderful, and it just destroys the environment that you are occupying. You've just become, cocaine is bad and it's so addictive. It's because it makes you feel wonderful. But and meth is really bad too. Like that, this doesn't serve a purpose. But cannabis serves a purpose. Cannabis is an innocuous drug. It's not it's like on par with a glass of wine or beer, right? It's not like a hard drug. It's not gonna. And if you don't want to, I don't like to drink. I do not like to drink. People have stresses in their lives, and you can go to your doctor and he can give you a nice little prescription of something, some chemical that you can put into your body, and maybe that'll take the edge off. I don't want that either, and I don't want to sit there and drink a couple of glasses of scotch and 3 beers at night and then wake up all dehydrated, because that's what alcohol does to your body. I have long been somebody who would just rather smoke a little weed, just take the edge off that way. A couple of puffs and then maybe something good on TV and you fall asleep and everything's beautiful. So I don't have a problem with weed. Certainly don't have a problem with weed being legal. Don't understand why it's still not legal everywhere, but okay. But the states and the places that have already made weed legal, now they're moving on to the next thing. Slippery slope. That's right. Magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms could follow in the footsteps of cannabis. A growing number of states are considering bills to expand research and or access to the drug. Turns out marijuana really is a gateway drug for America's state houses, that is. A movement to decriminalize or legalize psychedelic substances such as magic mushrooms is being driven by the same playbook that helped Americans not only destigmatize but politically embrace cannabis over the past decade. And much like the changing attitudes towards marijuana use, nascent research and personal stories, particularly from military veterans, are convincing some lawmakers to rethink longstanding prohibition of these drugs. Can I also talk about MDMA, known back in my day as ecstasy and in more recent times as Molly? That should be legalized. MDMA was legalized until a bunch of Bible thumpers realized that people were having a really good time on it and decided to make it illegal. And then I remember being 20 years old or something when ecstasy was really first starting to pop in. And I remember 2020 did this whole thing about ecstasy. It's like, it melts your brain. Doctors are certain that ecstasy melts. Here's a brain without ecstasy. Here's a brain after doing one thing of ecstasy. It's like a big giant hole burned in the brain. All of this stuff is such bullshit. It is such. I know a fully functioning grown man who has been doing MDMA weekly for the last 30 years. And he's an incredible guy. And part of the reason that he says he's an incredible guy is because of this regimen of ecstasy. Ecstasy is a drug that it's going to deplete your endorphins and then you're never going to be happy. Yeah, that's not true either, because this dude's really happy all the time. And he's in a wonderful relationship. He's been married to the same woman for 50 years. He's an old guy. He was one of the... All right, backstory. So here in Dallas, that MDMA was popularized and invented here in Dallas. Ecstasy first became a thing in Dallas. It was used in this very neighborhood where I am right now, Highland Park, back in late 70s, early 80s, maybe even mid 70s. It was a chemical compound that was being used by, I want to say he was an SMU professor. He was who began treating his high-end clients here in the Highland Park 1%er neighborhood, people who were going through marriage difficulty, he was like a marriage counselor. And he began treating his patients with this experimental chemical compound that had been around forever. And what they found was that the people he treated weren't getting divorced anymore because they would take the Molly or ecstasy or MDMA and they would re-fall in love, because that's what that drug does. That drug makes you just get rid of all of the bullshit, and it just makes you be happy. It makes you tap into the happy things. People that you're angry at, you're not going to be angry at anymore when you're on. So anyway, that's the history of it. And it was big here, and it was legal here in Dallas. It started in the Dallas clubs. And then they would just give it out at the clubs in Dallas back in the early 80s. My buddy Bruce owned a club, the late great Bruce, owned a club here in Dallas. It was a very famous club back in the day. And he's like, yeah, we used to give it out. We used to have it behind the bar. If people wanted it, we give it to them. That was when they knew it was becoming illegal. And there was like this huge stockpile of it, and they would give it out. But people makes you dance, makes you laugh, makes you want to hug and all that stuff. But it's been demonized because, people don't like drugs. Anyway, do you know what ecstasy does for veterans who have, gone through extreme PTSD and seen some really awful shit and are like on the verge of killing themselves and all that kind of stuff. MDMA treatments have been proven now for easily a decade plus to be the only thing that keeps these people in a good place, that keeps these people from living constantly the horrors that they experienced in Afghanistan or in Iraq. And they're also finding some of the same things with people who are going through these things by using psychedelics and magic mushrooms. Now, what do psychedelics do? They make you see funny things. They make colors pop. That's what tie-dye comes from, because a tie-dye shirt when you're tripping looks really cool. It looks like it glows. My point is, it's not an insidious drug. It's not something that's addictive, although, and by the way, we're talking about psilocybin mushrooms. We are not talking about LSD. We are not talking about acid. We are not talking about the kind of stuff that some creep in a trailer mixes up in his kitchen sink and then sells to a bunch of high school kids on little tabs. We are talking about something that grows in the ground that you can then, it's a little bit more natural. Anyway, that's enough on that. All I'm saying is that I'm not against talking about this. I'm not against talking about some of these drugs that have been demonized for, very agendized purposes. It's gone viral and sparked an interest nationwide, said Washington State Senator Jesse Solomon, who is sponsoring a bill that would allow psilocybin use among adults over the age of 21 under supervision. That means like under a doctor's care. I just didn't know there were so many like-minded people on this, he says. Oregon led the nation when voters approved a ballot measure in 2020 to legalize and regulate psilocybin therapy alongside another decriminalized drug. Voters in cities such as Denver, Oakland, and Washington, D.C. have also pulled back on enforcing laws against magic mushrooms and other plants that contain psychedelic compounds. Now, these ideas have spread to a politically disparate collection of states, such as Utah. Utah, who is, a state that you don't really think of being forward. Utah is like, yeah, it seems all right. Brings you closer to God. It's wait till the religious people realize that they can get way more converts to their little church if they start handing out. Serious. You want to believe in God? Take some mushrooms. Just don't take too many, because okay, so states such as Utah, Missouri, Connecticut, New Jersey, Texas, and California are all looking into these bills. The newfound enthusiasm for loosening restrictions on psychedelics is yet to gain much traction with federal policymakers, either in Congress or the executive branch. Like marijuana, most psychedelics, including psilocybin and MDMA, ecstasy, are classified as Schedule I narcotics under the Controlled Substance Act, meaning they're deemed to be highly addictive and have no medical applications. However, there are some signs of growing interest. In January, the National Institute on Drug Abuse hosted a workshop on psychedelics as therapeutics. And last year, it awarded $4 million to explore the impact of psilocybin on tobacco addiction. All right, so what? People stop smoking cigarettes because they like shrooming instead? In addition, here's a hot one. Here's a hot button issue. Here's a hot button name. This is going to, even if you were with me, you're not going to be with me now. In addition, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has sought to make it easier to conduct psychedelic research. But those efforts have been rejected by lawmakers because she sucks. 60s acid backlash is one of the big problems. The U.S. had a similar psychedelic renaissance once before. LSD was the subject of more than 1,000 scientific articles published between 1950 and 1961. Hey, you know who loved LSD? You know who loved acid? Cary Grant. Yeah, Cary Grant, the movie star, the guy who died at like 100, like 50 years ago. No, he died, I don't know, like 20 years ago. He's an old man. Cary Grant, starting in the 1950s, used to just regularly do these acid trip parties at his house with all these other like big name Hollywood celebrities of the era. He loved it. He had like a brutal upbringing, and he said that it started out in therapy and it helped him deal with like he came from like, like a very Oliver Twist kind of beginning in London, please, sir, I'd like some more. And then he became, Cary Grant, but he had a really difficult time with his childhood and his upbringing. And so he started doing acid and he loved it. The substance became politicized, doesn't it all, and stigmatized as a dangerous part of the 1960s counterculture, stifling research and sending psychedelics underground for decades. What was once the province of acid heads in Haight-Ashbury has since emerged as a non-tropical tool embraced by Silicon Valley tech bros and a potentially lucrative business opportunity for investors. Oh, well, we are Americans. If there's a business opportunity. This is something that has been happening illegally, but still going on. And powerful people, especially Silicon Valley tech guys, feel pretty much, invulnerable to it. People are talking about microdosing. Do you know about this? The whole microdosing thing? Billionaires, Wall Street bankers, doctors, all of these like important, super rich elitists are now totally down with the idea of microdosing. And what is microdosing? Microdosing is every day waking up, having your coffee, and then also with your coffee, like an eyedropper of LSD or acid or psilocybin or whatever it is that they're using. And just, it's not like, man, I'm tripped out, man. I can't admit. No, it's just like enough to make you feel like you're seeing things more clearly, you're being more creative, you're being more engaged with people. That's what microdosing is all about. People swear by it. Extremely successful people, movers and shakers, swear by the whole microdosing thing. And that's probably what is leading to a more measured and reasoned conversation about the effects. So that's why magic mushrooms are trending. There is a movement now among the elites to get people to really think about this. All right. Also, we'll end with this. This is the last one before we jump in and see what else is trending. Yeah, no, never mind. It's too dated. It's not even important. Let's jump in and let's see what has been trending since we started the show. What did I miss? In other words. All right, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is now trading number one. The Chiefs are trading 6-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks. All right, so here's what the Chiefs are getting in return for Tyreek Hill. A 2022 first-round pick, which is going to be number 29. A second-round pick, number 50, and a fourth-round pick, as well as a 4th and a 6th round pick in the 2023 draft. Oh my God. If you are a Miami Dolphin fan, you have got to be dying. They've given away everything for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a terrific football player, but he's a terrific football player in the system that had Andy Reid's offense and Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. I don't know. Who is even the coach of the Miami Dolphins? What offense are they running in Miami? Is Tua going to be the quarterback down there? Because the last regime didn't want to. Whoa, is this a dumb, stupid move? Boy, oh boy. Look, the Jets didn't do it. Thank God. The Jets have nothing either. That is a haul. And the Chiefs, who literally, they are on the verge. I mean, they're in the middle of their window. The Chiefs have been a dominant football team for years. They got this one player, and they're like, Andy Reid's like, well, yeah, I made Tyreek Hill. We got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, in his ability to create, extended plays, which allowed Tyreek Hill to get open because he's just running around like a man. That we can do it again. We can get another guy. We can go find somebody else and we can bring him in and we can make him the new Tyreek Hill. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill's going to go down to oh my God, and the Miami Dolphins gave away the store. The Dolphins gave up their first-round pick, their second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. All they got now is a third-round pick. Well, actually, I don't know what their draft stockpile was. Maybe they had some other picks. I doubt it, though. The Miami Dolphins are not in a win-now scenario. The Miami Dolphins have a first-year coach coming in. They have questionable quarterback. The Miami Dolphins cannot be giving away all of this for a gadget. And that's what he is. He's a gadget. Now, if Tyreek Hill, with a new system and a new coach and a new team, can repeat all of the incredible things that Tyreek Hill did with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, then I'm wrong. But I don't know, man. I don't know. He seems like a Bic lighter. He seems like a guy that is Tyreek Hill seems like he is benefiting more from the system that he plays in and the quarterback that he plays with than the fact that he was, the greatest college player coming out, which he wasn't. But okay. All right. Madeleine Albright has passed away. We talked about that. Mo Brooks is still trending because Trump doesn't like Brooks anymore. Real Housewives of New York is going to be back. Bravo is going to reboot the Real Housewives of New York with a new cast. All right. Manafort, the NFL. Football fans react to all the shocking surprises. Okay. Chiefs are trending, obviously. Stephon Diggs is trending. He is still a member of the Buffalo Bills, but he is tweeting, "What the hell is going on?" in response to Tyreek Hill. Kissinger is trending. Is Kissinger trending alongside Burn in Hell? Because he should be. No, Kissinger is simply trending because Madeleine Albright has died, and people are now taking the opportunity to remind everyone that Henry Kissinger is one of the worst human beings who has ever lived. And he really is. He's a terrible human being. He is responsible for more death and more destruction and some of the most horrid. Moving on. If Kissinger was trending at 10 o'clock this morning, maybe I'd have gone into my Kissinger rant, but I'm not going to. I can't believe Henry Kissinger is still alive. Now, I'm a seeker. I have no real position on the whole idea of God, heaven, earth, religion, this religion better than that religion. I don't know. I think there's something. I'm a seeker. There's something going on out there. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm living my life and I'm having experiences and I'm thinking about stuff constantly. And I think that that's what life is all about. But it ain't good for the people who say that there is definitely a God when you see that Henry Kissinger, one of the most evil men to ever live, is like 100 million years old. He's like the freaking crypt keeper. You said you weren't going to get into your Kissinger rant. I just want to see how old he is. He's not a good guy. He's what has been revealed about Henry Kissinger over the past 30, 40 years is not good. Doesn't say how old he is. How old is he? Come on. Oh, he's 98. He's 98 years old, Henry Kissinger. Controversial guy. And former Secretary of State. And that's why he's trending. Because Madeleine Albright, who, here, I'll just click on why. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because people are saying Madeleine Albright, greatest Secretary of State in modern times. Henry Kissinger, worst Secretary of State in modern times. Whatever. We shall see. All right. That's all. That's all I got for that. Let's go through the chat room. Let's see what some of you people have going on. Have you looked under the chairs? Have you looked under the tables? He's probably 26. Turk is getting up there in age for a running back. Jeff on microdosing. Microdosing involves taking roughly 1/10 the trip dose of a psychedelic drug, an amount too little to trigger hallucinations, but enough, its proponents say, to sharpen the mind. Yep. See anything else I want to mention here? A lot of people. April Michelle wants to talk about that guy in Fort Worth who's got all the snakes and the ones. I thought that was Arlington, but okay, we'll go with Fort Worth. Yeah, he's like he's a singer in a local speed metal band. Is that the guy we're talking about? Jennifer Blair Martin doesn't want a tiger, but she wants a goat. I don't want a goat. I want a pig. I want a pig. I want a little house pig. All right. Not a whole lot. I'm just scanning through the chat room. Not a whole lot here for me to. Byron Granger had a black girlfriend. She lived down the street. He says, my folks were indifferent, but they made us go to her place when Grandpa came over. Yeah. Oh, grandpas. From a different time. They're from a different time. And that doesn't excuse, but whatever. It doesn't excuse, but it does explain. Okay? That's not an excuse. No, it's not. But it's an explanation. It explains why that was. Not excusing it, but it explains. Byron says Ambien made someone play soccer on the Central Expressway. I have no doubt about that. He also says that there are Hillsongs here in the Dallas area. They rent space every Sunday. Used to be one at Gillies. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, I got nothing else. Let's see. It's Wednesday. Support the show if you can, please, with a tip. We've gotten no tips, not since our boy John tipped us last week. The show does run on your gratuities, so I do appreciate that. We do 2 streams a day. We do the high noon show right here, and then we come back at 9 o'clock, all time central. Come back at 9 o'clock and we do our Pillow Talk. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Oh, turn it up. That's my jam. So if you can, if you have it in us, if you have it in you, tip the show. Help us out. We need to raise not much. We need to raise like $500 a month, and we don't get there. Well, I mean, we do sometimes. Sometimes people step up and they really help out and they get us over the top, but we don't get there. That's all we need for this. Things are going good. I tell you need to tip the show because we're coming up to the end of the month. We are right there. Pugs Moran on Venmo, PayPal, Pugscast, whatever you can do. It's appreciated. All right, we'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight. Me and Parker. The last couple of nights, we've been like focused on this new obsession that I've found myself on, which are these predator catching videos on YouTube where they catch all these pervs and stuff. And last night, I had a dream. All right, so no, I wasn't being caught. That's not it. I didn't have a dream where like I was caught for something. No, I had a dream. And you know how dreams jump around and they're really weird? So like, oh God, there's nothing worse than people trying to explain their dreams. But I was at a mall and it was like when I was back in high school and I was with my girlfriend and the mall then suddenly turned into an apartment complex and we were going back to her apartment, even though she didn't have an apartment in high school. She lived in a house. She didn't. And it was like her apartment, even though we were just in high school. It's just weird. You know, dreams are weird. But then like a couple of doors down at her apartment, there was one of these predator stings going on. All right, I am done watching the predator stings. They're not allowed to come. That stuff is not allowed to seep into my subconscious. It is not something that I want haunting my dreams. It is one thing for me to sit here and watch them unfold live on YouTube and be fascinated by the human condition. It is another thing when they start seeping into my dreams. So I'm done. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to. Did you guys know that the entire show the dog has just been staring at me? She's just laying there staring at me. She's like, I like when you do this. I don't know if you're talking to me or not. You're just talking. You're making noise, and I'm fascinated by it. All right, I'm out of here. Bye, everybody. I don't need no 401.
Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest.
Comfort nest alive.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come.
He said the best to come,
I
y'all.
found a different way, so baffling to some.
Wow, wow.
I can smile a little now. Things are going good.
Going good, he said.
Always had to be on guard. That is understood.
He's understood, he said understood now.
I'll travel far from the comfort nest.
Comfort nest
I am on a never-ending quest.